One is being trained right now to one day hold real constitutional power.
The other will spend her entire life as a symbol, with almost none. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which princess actually wins, and it's probably not the one you'd guess. Princess Leonor is the Princess of Asturias, heir to the Spanish throne, first in line. Princess Charlotte is third in line to the British throne, behind her father William and her older brother George. On paper, that already tells you something. Leonor is guaranteed to be queen one day. Charlotte almost certainly never will be, and that single fact changes everything about how much power either of them will ever hold. But guaranteed to be queen doesn't mean guaranteed to have power. In fact, the country with the weaker monarchy might end up giving its princess more real influence. Here's why. Spain and the UK are both constitutional monarchies, which sounds like it means the same thing in both places. It doesn't. In Spain, the monarch's role is almost entirely ceremonial. Leonor will sign laws, represent the country abroad, and act as a unifying figurehead, but she won't set policy. In the UK, the monarch's powers are technically broader on paper, but in practice those powers haven't been meaningfully used in generations. So here's the uncomfortable truth: neither of them will have real political power. The question isn't who gets more legal authority. It's who gets more influence, and those are very different things. And that's where this gets interesting, because influence isn't given to you by a constitution. It's built, and one of these two is already building hers faster. Charlotte is still a child. She has no official duties, no military training, no public role yet, and won't for years. Her influence right now is purely symbolic. She's a face the British public has watched grow up, and that builds long-term goodwill, but it's not power, it's potential. Leonor, on the other hand, is already an adult moving through the early stages of royal duty, with military academy training and public appearances representing Spain, and visible steps toward the responsibilities she'll formally take on. That gap matters. Soft power, the kind that actually moves public opinion and gives a royal real cultural weight, is built through visibility over time. Leonor has a decade-plus head start on building hers. But here's what almost nobody factors in when they compare these two. It's not really about the princess at all. It's about whether their country still wants a monarchy by the time they're in charge. This is the part that actually decides everything, and it has nothing to do with either of them personally. Public support for the monarchy in the UK and in Spain has moved in different directions over the past decade. A monarch with strong public backing has real soft power. Public statements get attention, charitable causes get funding, state visits actually mean something. A monarch with weak public backing becomes symbolic in the worst sense, present but ignored. So the real question isn't who has more constitutional power. It's which country will still care enough about its monarchy, by the time these two are actually running it, for that power to mean anything at all. And that leads to the answer, but it's not as simple as picking a side. If we're talking about legal power, it's close, and arguably tied, since both are figureheads in practice. If we're talking about guaranteed power, Leonor wins outright. She will be queen. Charlotte almost certainly never will be. But if we're talking about real-world influence, the kind that actually shapes how people see the monarchy and gives a royal genuine cultural relevance, that's where it gets closer than you'd think, because Charlotte is growing up in a media environment that turns British royals into global figures in a way Spain's monarchy doesn't get. So who actually wins? If you're asking who has more power on paper, Leonor, clearly. If you're asking who will have more global influence, that's genuinely Charlotte's to lose, simply because of the size of the platform she's being raised on. Which means the honest answer is, they're not even competing in the same category. One has the crown, the other might end up with the louder voice. And whether that's a fair trade is something I think is worth sitting with. If you want to actually understand what Leonor's path to the throne looks like step by step, I'm building that whole story out video by video. Let me know in the comments, do you think raw legal power matters more than influence, or is influence the real prize? I'll read these and reply to as many as I can today. She was born into one of the most secure positions in Europe. But that security might not last as long as everyone assumes. By the end of this video, you'll understand why her path to the throne, the one everyone treats as guaranteed, actually depends on something much bigger than her. Princess Leonor is the Princess of Asturias, first in line to the Spanish throne. From the moment she was born, her path looked set: military training, public duties, eventually the crown. Most people stop the story there. But the throne she's set to inherit has been challenged before, and the conditions that could challenge it again haven't gone away. Spain hasn't always been a monarchy without interruption. The country abolished its monarchy once before, in the early 20th century, and only restored it decades later after a long period without a king. That history matters, because it means the institution Leonor is set to lead isn't ancient and untouchable in the way people assume when they think of European royalty. It's been removed before. It could, in theory, be questioned again. And that's the part almost nobody factors in when they talk about her future. Public support for the monarchy in Spain isn't uniform across the country. In some regions, particularly areas with strong independence movements, support for the monarchy is notably weaker, and Republican sentiment, the belief that Spain would be better off without a royal family at all, has never fully disappeared. It's a minority position nationally, but it's a real and active one, not a fringe idea that vanished decades ago. So here's the actual question this video is built around. It's not whether someone else takes the throne instead of Leonor. It's whether the throne itself will still mean what people think it means by the time she's the one sitting on it. Her father, Felipe VI, inherited a monarchy that was already dealing with public trust issues following controversies involving his own father. Whether the institution's standing improves or continues eroding under his reign will shape exactly what kind of role Leonor steps into. A monarchy with strong public backing gives its monarch real soft power and cultural relevance. A monarchy that keeps losing public trust becomes symbolic in the worst sense, present, but increasingly irrelevant, even to its own citizens. This isn't unique to Spain, either. Other European monarchies have faced the same pressure in modern times, and not all of them survived it. The crown isn't disappearing tomorrow, and there's no indication Leonor's succession itself is in danger. But the version of the role she actually inherits, how much it matters, how much respect and attention it carries, is genuinely still being decided by public opinion happening right now, not by anything written in a constitution decades ago. So when we say this could change everything, this is what we actually mean. Not a palace scandal, not a rival claimant. A slower, quieter shift in whether the public still wants what she's been raised to become. If that shift continues in one direction, she becomes a monarch with real cultural weight and relevance. If it continues in the other, she could inherit a title that exists more in name than in influence. Either way, the throne she's been promised since birth was never actually guaranteed in the way most people assume, and that's exactly why her story is worth following closely from here. If you want to understand the other side of this, what's actually happening with public opinion on the Spanish monarchy right now, that's the video I'm building next. Let me know in the comments, do you think the monarchy will still matter by the time Leonor takes the throne, or is the institution itself fading? I'll be reading and replying to comments today.